that ever in your life, keep watching. So I distinctly remember like 2 times in my life where this was the case. And one was a couple years ago. I remember like not enjoying what I was doing. What's up, 7? Not enjoying what I was doing anymore in business. And I was like, okay, so what do I do now? You know, like, what direction do I go? Do I stop this thing? Do I start another thing? I don't really know what to start. I don't really know where to go from here. And I clearly remember, like, this is when I lived in Florida. I remember, like, sitting on the riding lawnmower we had, because we had 15 acres there. And about 7 of the acres were cleared. So we had quite a bit of cutting to do. And I would spend, like, hours, like, thinking and cutting grass and, like, you know, where am I going? What am I doing? Just that feeling of spinning your wheels and not going anywhere. And I was like, you know what? I need to just go back to the basics. And that, for me, was figuring out, what do I really want? Like, what do I really, really, really want? And so I remember writing by hand, white paper, blue ink, pen, and I started to think bigger beyond what dream property we had in Florida, which that was our dream property. What's up, Sophia? We had our dream home. We had our beautiful 15-acre property, but I watched, Seek and You Should Find. I watched somebody on a video talk about their, what was it, like 60 or 80 acre property, and I was like, ooh. And all of a sudden, like, my mind expanded, and I was like, you know, 15 acres is a lot to some people, but was I satisfied with that, you know? And I was like, no, I want more. Like, I want more land. A lot of our land was in the marsh anyway, in Florida. So I was like, I want more land. You know, I want more woods. I want trails. And it's sort of just hearing this person talk about how much they loved their own property, like, seriously took me out of one dream into the next. And I was like, okay, so I started writing out, you know, all these things that I wanted about this new property. And I was like, you know what? I think it's not going to be in Florida. I think it's just going to be somewhere else. Like, because of what I want is just, as I started to search, I was like, this isn't going to happen here, you know? And it was sort of this moment of like, oh crap, I've lived here for like, you know, I think it was like 12 years at that time. And, you know, to pick up and move out of state, it's a big decision. It's a big deal. But I was inspired. And so what I started to do was just write it out. Like, okay, first of all, I know I want more acreage, so let's just pick a number. I was like, 20 acres, you know. It was only like 5 acres more. But I said 20 acres clear, like where I could easily access all the land. And I said, you know, I wanted to be somewhat outside of town, not too, like, close to town, but also not so far away that it was like an inconvenience. So I think I put down like 30 minutes, 35 minutes, something like that from town. And, you know, I just started to get really descriptive. And then I started to think about the kind of house I wanted. And I have no idea, honestly, like, looking back, I have no idea how I came up with this idea of wanting a barn dominium. I just do not remember where that came from, honestly. But they also call them shop houses, or I don't know, in Missouri it's like shouse, like S house, shop house. Anyway, the concept is it looks literally like a metal building, you know, like a warehouse. But inside these houses, these barn dominiums, I like to call them barn dominiums, that just sounds better. Inside these barn dominiums, a lot of the times people would modify the interior to have this sort of luxury, modern look. And I always was interested in that kind of home style. Our previous home in Florida was more country, estate, like style, like wood floors, and you know, there was some modern things about it, but it was like a house built in 2003, so it wasn't luxury modern by any means. And so all these things kind of came into play, and I started to just keep writing, like not every day, because I'm the kind of person that like gets bored of that, but I was like writing out, you know, every few days, every week, whatever it was, getting more clear, you know, and I went from kind of like spinning my wheels about, I don't know what to do about business and all this other stuff, to like being really excited about focusing on something different, you know. And kind of around that same time, I had already found a new stream of income. I think taking my mind off of what was bothering me by thinking about what I really, really wanted opened the door for this like other stream of income to come in. So it wasn't like so focused on that part anymore, because I was like, you know, it's a means to make money, cool, but what do I really want, right? I really want this dream property, this next amazing house. And that just lifted me out of that situation. And I think the key point I'm trying to make here is that you gotta know what you really want. Hi, Gary. You gotta know, like, what it is that you really, and I mean, like, get to the essence of this, because this is so, so important. If you just say, you know, what do I really want? Well, you know, I'd really like to make a few bucks more. I'd really like to, you know, upgrade our kitchen, or, you know, like, just, no, what do you really want? What's up, Jack? What do you really, I mean, heart of hearts, truly, deeply desire that you don't tell anybody because you're too freaking scared of what people might think of you or say to you or burst your bubble, because that will happen. Well-meaning, well-intentioned, loving people will burst your bubble. So mum's the word, keep it quiet, because this is the dream building stage, and you have to keep that stuff internalized until you have such a strong belief that you're gonna get it. Like, you don't tell anybody, okay? That's the hard part a little bit, because you're like, you know, you kind of want to share it because you're excited, but then you're like, I don't know, maybe people will like laugh at me and say, oh, how are you gonna get that? You know, these chide remarks. And I remember sort of keeping all this inside when I was thinking about the next dream house property. I didn't even tell my husband for a little while, because I was like, no, I gotta build my own belief in it first. And then the idea came to me in how to present it to him. And the idea was, you know, talk to my husband in monetary terms, because that's where his thinking would be. So I said, hey, I was like, we have put a lot of money into this current house in Florida. And in fact, I tallied it up, and I was like kind of sick to my stomach about it. But I said, look, the market is good right now. If we took our investment in this home, sold it, went somewhere that it was a lower cost to live, we would make money for sure. We would get back all this money we put in, and we would make money for sure. And he was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. You know, that's all I had to share with him. So, but I would not have come to him with that suggestion of picking up and moving out of state if I hadn't put the belief in myself. And the only way I got to the belief in myself of doing this was by writing it down and getting very clear and very specific about it. And some people would say, well, you know, Amy, you wanted these certain things in this home, and you wanted a barn dominium, and you wanted this kind of style, luxury modern. You know, what about your husband? Like, what did he want? He wanted what I wanted. That was the decision I made. I was like, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to worry about this right now. I'm not going to care about this right now. I'm just going to know what I want. Because I got so excited about that I basically transferred that excitement, that energy to him. And when I started showing him pictures online of like potential homes and like, what do you think about this? How about this kind of land? How about this kind of house? You know, I believe that my enthusiasm for it, like, transferred to him, and he was just like, yeah, you know. And he had a couple of, like, requirements. You know, he's gonna pick up, move out of state, quit his job, have to go find another job. Like, he had a few requirements. I was like, I completely understand. And one of those was to have a pond on our property. And I was like, no problem. That's going on the list, you know. And he wanted to be able to fish, like the pond, and maybe also that there was other places nearby that he could fish, because he loves fishing. And really, oh, and a workshop, excuse me. That was his other requirement. Workshop, garage, big space for him to do his thing, do his man cave stuff. So I was like, okay, sure. So that all that went into my writing out the dream property. And like I said, I did this, you know, every few days, once a week. Not crazy, because it takes time to like really figure out what you want. And some of the things I wrote down, when I looked at properties that sort of fit that description, I was like, maybe not, you know. And then there was some properties popping up where they had certain amenities, and I'm like, ooh, you know, add it to the list, right? Because that would make it even better. So my key point in sharing all this is that if you're spinning your wheels, feeling like you're not making any progress, stop everything for a day or two and just take time to sit down with paper and a pen. I go with blue ink, and just write it out what you really, really, really want. I'm talking like, don't think about obligations and bills to pay and da 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 da. No. Deep, deep desires here. What do you really, really want? And you don't have to know all this up front. Just start the process, okay? And if you guys want to go deep with me, because some of you will hear this message and you'll be like, oh, that sounds great, Amy, and you're never going to do it. You're never going to pick up the pen and paper. You're going to say, oh, that sounds great. You're never going to do it. And I'll tell you what. It's because there is this insidious inner voice that holds us back. There's literally like limitations, restrictions that we impose upon ourselves. And I call it the inner voice. It's that, you know, supposed well-meaning, intentioning voice in our own head that's like, you don't need to do this. Just think about what you want. Yeah, that's good. That's good. No. Write it. There's power in writing. But that voice is something I'm addressing on a live Zoom workshop next week. You guys can go to the link in my bio to check it out. It's called 3 Key Steps to Destroying Your Inner Voice That's Telling You Crap and Keeping You Back. Okay? So if you're interested, link in the bio. Go check it out. I'll see you guys on the next one.